Thank you all for being here this evening to celebrate a milestone in our city's efforts to be more energy efficient. In a few minutes, we'll flip this giant switch to mark the city's conversion of nearly 27,000 streetlights to LED technology. I'd like to introduce some of the partners joining us. Peter Hinkle is here from Schneider Electric. Jeff Lavache is here from Lincoln Electric System. And I also want to, I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
Dan Moffett.
Dan Moffett is here with us. And I also want to recognize, he's not here, Frank Ularek from Lincoln Transportation and Utilities for all of his work on this project. And also just, I wish Mayor Breitler was here tonight because his leadership and vision was such a huge part of making the streetlight conversion happen. So I just want to recognize him as well. Replacing our aging streetlights with LED fixtures is expected to reduce our utility budget by 38%, and that is great news. But the benefits go beyond those savings. We will also see reduced maintenance costs due to the longevity of LED lighting. The lights improve safety by offering better visibility for drivers, and this project is a big step in our ongoing efforts to make Lincoln more sustainable. The LED conversion project removes 3.9 million pounds of carbon from the atmosphere every year. That is the equivalent of planting 180,000 trees or removing 1,200 cars from the road. We've chosen to hold this celebration on this particular day because it is National Energy Efficiency Day. In honor of that occasion, I'm issuing a proclamation, and because it's chilly, I'm going to just simply declare, as mayor of the city of Lincoln, that October 2nd, 2019 is Energy Efficiency Day, and want to encourage all our citizens to practice smarter energy use, to support clean energy goals, and help move the community, our state, and our nation towards a more energy efficient future. Thank you so much, and I'm going to present this to these guys. There you go.
Thank you.
Energy efficient. Thank you for everything you guys did to help make it possible. Really amazing project to get done.
It was awesome. I'm proud to be
It was a lot of work.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Any questions at this time?
We can do questions, is that all right?
You sure can.
I know you were on the city council when this ball started
Yes.
to get rolling, and obviously you've had a lot of other plans and things going on since you've been mayor. But for this, to install the 27,000 lights and work with the folks beside you, how has that process been for you?
Well, it's an incredible feeling of gratitude to be able to do something citywide with such an incredible impact that helps create awareness of what we all can do to be more energy efficient. I mean, we're doing this with our streetlights, but people can do this at home. They can take their steps, and we all need to take steps to try to make our city more eco-friendly, and that's something that is, of course, good for the environment, but it's also good for our budgets at home and across the city. So it's a tremendous feeling to have something like this accomplished and in such a short time.
27,000 lights, that seems like a lot to me, but I'm not sure exactly how many that covers across the city.
Yeah.
Could you maybe explain where we're talking and how expansive it really is?
Well, the project, I'll let LES go into the details for folks, but what we, of course, focused on was both approach that covered residential lighting and also our arterial streets. And then we, of course, have different lighting applications depending on the need. And so we already had test labs throughout the city. In fact, as a part of this process, Jeff and I walked through the streets of Lincoln looking at different installations as we were trying to narrow down what applications of lights to use. And we did that in response to citizen input about the color of the lighting, the temperature of the lighting. So, Jeff, did you want to speak to anything about the actual installation, or did you guys want to discuss that?
I mean, it's safe to say all the lights are fully replaced now. There's maybe a handful that are left for various reasons, but from a lighting perspective, essentially the entire city has now been converted to LED.
Gotcha. And then you look at other cities that have used this. What are the improvements or benefits that they've seen? I know you talked about what we see in terms of numerical value, but is this safer for communities? Is this better for drivers on the road, or what can you see
So,
No, go ahead.
So one of the things that Larian mentioned was walking around and wanting to get the right color temperature of light. And it was residential versus kind of arterial, the main kind of driving streets within the city of Lincoln. And one of the reasons we wanted to use a wider, brighter light is because of that safety factor. But also the new residential street lights provide a better output, a better light quality. So when you're walking down the street where before, from 50, 60 feet away, maybe you've got a blurred face because of the yellow hue of that light. Now with these white LEDs that we're going to light up here in a second here in kind of the square, you'll see it's a much clearer, more crisp, better color rendering across the face or across the person, so you can see that individual coming up. It just creates a safer, more welcoming environment, I think, within the entire city.
When you are in an older neighborhood in Lincoln, or when you would see the high sodium vapor lights, it almost had an orange glow, and their deterioration over time was really distinct. And when we walked the streets, we thought about that. We thought about, like, well, what if I drop my keys here? And you couldn't see very far. The light coverage wasn't that great, and again, it was deteriorating over time. Now, if people drop their keys at night, we think they're going to be able to spot them on the sidewalk, and that's important for some of us who drop our keys.
I had one final question for myself. These lights were projected to last 15 to 20 years on top of what had previously been installed. Is that saving money for the city, or that just seems much more beneficial than having to replace lights consistently? I didn't know who would be best suited for that.
Yeah, I can address that. So the LED lights, typically the expected life right now is around 25 years. Pretty much zero maintenance for the most part. You will have photocells or photo eyes that control those lights that only last about 20 years, so there'll be some maintenance within the life of the fixture. However, we used to replace lamps in the existing fixtures about every 4 years, and the photocells at the same time about every 4 years. So we're expecting we shouldn't have to visit that fixture for about 20 years.
Awesome. New construction, are they required to have LED lights then in the growing parts of the city?
I want to say that was already underway. Typically, when we toured newer neighborhoods, that's where we were actually able to visit a lot of the installations of different types of LEDs and some of their test labs. Do you want to speak
Sure.
to that?
So in 2012 is when LES and the city passed a new initiative to require all streetlights to be LED.
But part of this was that we were able to finish the job because of the financing and working with Schneider Electric and using some of the savings to then create the financing and pay off the job. So more of a punch to this project. Speaking of which, do you have any more questions, Riley? We need to flip our switch, right? Are we gonna? Yeah.
Right. You ready? All right.
You're all right? Come on, apparently this is a big job, so let's
Yeah.
do this together.
You guys want to? Good. Okay.
Ready?
So many hands here.
Two, three.
Switch, I think.